Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Father and Son Pastime podcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Kevin.
That's my dad. Dad, it's finally here, the top 50 free agent prediction show. We have done this year after year. I think it was our first episode ever on YouTube 5 years ago, guys. Yeah. 5 years. And it's something that we've done really for almost 15 years, that as long as really MLB Trade Rumors has come up with this list. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it. We just never really publicized it.
We were at a kitchen table in Pasadena, Maryland, and we were sitting across from each other, and we just went back and forth, and we had a ball doing it.
I don't think Pablo Sandoval is staying a Giant. We had all those conversations. Where's Tim Lincecum go? Madison Bumgarner, a Diamondback? Get out of here. So those are the things we talked about, and then we sort of checked back in, and we got a few of those right. And we realized we're knowledgeable people. Let's create a podcast. And 5 years ago, 2019, December, I think, November of 2019, we started this channel, and I think 140 episodes later, here we are, still sharing so much knowledge with you all. We don't have that many subscribers. That's okay, but they're a loyal few. Please share this with your friends and family that are baseball fans. We give out our baseball card to people at stadiums as we see more stadiums each year. And try to grow this great podcast. We think we're really knowledgeable. With that said, we'll probably get 8 out of these 50 right. Before we always recorded, Dad, I feel like we got like 12, 13, even 14 right in a year. And then once we started recording, I felt like I got 6 right, 5 right, 4.
I think I had a high of 8.
Yes. Yeah. So it's tough. If we get double digits this year, we'll celebrate. We'll have some Mai Tais. We'll have some, have some fun with that. But who knows? I just want to beat my dad. I don't know if I beat my dad, but we always bet $50 a year. I feel like I've been giving him $50 year after year.
I don't think I've lost yet.
Thanks, Dad. Something we do is to replace all of the people that have signed on this MLB Trade Rumors top 50 free agent list with our own honorable mentions. So in that, and I just realized that Kikuchi's in this list too, so we're going to have to drop it down to number 27. Blake Snell, Yusei Kikuchi, and Nick Martinez have signed with teams, so they are off this list, so we've come up with 3 honorable mentions, 3 of our own really, to incorporate 48, 49, and number 50 basically. So with that said, Max Kepler, JD Martinez, and Roki Sasaki, because he somehow was left off the MLB Trade Rumors list, they will be our 3 replacement nominees, if you will. And we are going to do this in 2 sections because we get so in-depth. Sharing's not enough. We have to defend our picks.
We get emotional.
Sometimes, and we do celebrate when we pick the same person. Makes sense to us, but sometimes they don't sign with that team. So we'll do the top 25 and then the bottom 25 in 2 separate videos. Dad, we're going to kick it off with Juan Soto. Juan Soto is the clear 1-1, one of the best free agents, the best stories. I know we had Shohei Ohtani last year. Maybe there'll be some deferrals, who knows. But Juan Soto is just one of the best names we've ever had in free agency.
Very young free agent.
He's 20. He'll be 26, right, with this team.
Yeah.
He's been on 3 teams already in his young career. He started as a National, was a Padre, and was a Yankee last year as well. Dad, something tells me we've kind of done whispers with family over Thanksgiving and talked about that stuff. Dad, who do you have Juan Soto going to?
Well, he's not going to leave New York.
I agree.
He's going to the Mets. He is going to sign a mega contract, and he'll be a New York Met for, I think, at least 10 years. And I think that will happen during the winter meetings, and then the domino effect will be an avalanche. So I think he may be within the next 10 to 12 days signing with the Mets for an ungodly sum of money, and the Mets will celebrate having a true superstar with Lindor on the other New York team.
I also have the Mets. What I'm going to do for some of these people is to list some real contenders who I think they could end up with, not just, hey, let's have a meeting with Soto and entertain our fans with the possibility. I think the Mets, Yankees, Dodgers, Red Sox, and Giants are all serious contenders for Soto. Some have the money, some have the need, some have both. The Mets have the most money in that list. I think it'll be just behind Shohei Ohtani's length total number of dollars. He'll get paid obviously more money than Ohtani is in 2025 because he's only making $2 million. I think it'll be somewhere around 13 years, $660 million. I have something.
13 years.
13,660.
Okay.
Yep. So I just want to do that math real quick because I'm just
thinking, if
that's just over $50 million a year. Yeah.
That's what he's looking for.
Yeah.
And then he'll probably get a signing bonus on top of that.
Yeah, I saw Snell had a signing bonus. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
If he gets 660 over 14 years, it's $47 million a year. So I think that's a very realistic number. I don't think he'll hit the sevens. And he's a franchise-altering player, and he'll go in the Hall of Fame, our opinion, as a Met, and kind of have that Hispanic factor in New York for a decade plus.
Yeah, I think it'll work out for both parties. It really makes the Mets one-up the Yankees as far as star power. So, they have Judge, over in the Bronx, and then Soto over, in Flushing, New York. So I'm thinking he will be, one of the headline makers in the New York press. So, I'm happy for him. I wish him the best, but it really helps the Mets become a complete team.
Dad, I think that could be where we defer from here on out. It's always fun to note the ones my dad and I have in common. Usually it's like less than 5.
Yeah.
Dad, I will alternate. We'll alternate. You'll take
Sure.
the odds. I'll take the evens. I have Corbin Burns hitting that CBs, Chicago Cubs, or the Cubby Bear, as Corbin Burns will be called. The Cubby Bear. CB.
Wow.
I have him being the ace.
Whoa.
You were talking in our podcast earlier about the Cubs needing more of a back-end starter. I think they don't. I think they need a true splashy starter. I think Stroman could have been that for him a couple years ago. Monaga's been great. Steele, I don't know how long he'll be in that 2 role. I think Monaga's a 2, Burns is a 1, Steele's a 3, Taillon's a 4.
Wow. The only thing that preface some things, Corbin has a qualifying offer.
Yep.
And the Cubs are very leery of those things, so they hate to give up draft choices. I have Corbin going to the Giants and become their ace.
More than Webb? Bigger than Webb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's number 1. And I really think that if the Giants, especially with Buster Posey, I think he's going to be aggressive. They need some star power out in San Francisco. He would do well out there, and they got to battle the Dodgers, and they got to get some names. And I think Corbin out there will do really, really well and become the true star of that team and give them, the pitching staff they need to battle the Western Division. So I have him going to Giants.
I would like to see that. I didn't have that. I only went with 4 contenders on this one. I had Cubs, Mets, Nats, and Orioles, believe it or not, in terms of who needs that front-end starter, a right-handed starter that badly. And I think the Mets, I'm not going to give the Mets the top 2 names on the board, so that could work out, but I'm going to go with the Cubs getting Burns. Giants getting Burns sounds good to me, too. At least that makes sense. But yeah, Dad, how about Alex Breggy? Bregman, is he staying in Houston or packing his bags?
He packs his bags and he goes above the border to Toronto. And I think
They were on my list.
I think he will, again, it's a qualifying offer, but again, between the 2 financial systems, between Canada and United States, they give him an unbelievable contract. And then he becomes the star, which enables the Blue Jays, if they're serious, to either trade some of their star power or have him become the centerpiece. But him in the lineup, the Blue Jays get better instantaneously.
I love how, again, referring back to our AL East offseason outlook, we have very differing opinions. I think the Jays don't do much. You have them being, I believe, very active, if I recall.
I do.
But that's also you said trading Vlad's on the table, so...
Yeah. Well, you could free some money because he's a free agent at the end of the year. So I'm just thinking,
It would be a very interesting in one, out one almost.
Yeah.
But I think that only makes sense if they kept Vlad and Bo. But I have him going to the American League, so at least we have him both staying in the American League. But he is going to join his trash can trash can helper, AJ Hinch, and become the Detroit Tigers' third baseman.
wow.
I think that is exactly what that team needs. It's a team full of energetic rookies, basically, and they need a bit more established, disciplined third baseman that's won World Series, that has playoff experience. Alex Bregman, in terms of who has the most playoff experience in this free agent class, is head and shoulders above everyone else, including Juan Soto. No one has more playoff at-bats that mattered than Alex Bregman. Playoff at-bats, period. Alex Bregman. Playoff experience, playoff wins. It's series wins. It's Alex Bregman. And what Detroit kind of lacked this year was, oh my God, holy shit, we made it. What do we do now? And Alex Bregman's like, it's okay, guys. It's cool. It's cool. So I think he'll be really needed in Detroit. For Jung, I don't know what happens from him. Maybe he becomes that DH you were talking about, and they don't have to trade him. And then Carpenter, Vierling kind of do a little outfield platooning. But I think a strong third baseman is needed in Detroit.
You know, speaking of his championship caliber, even when he was at LSU, he was in championships. So he's had a long run of being in championship play. So, yeah. I mean, it's a great choice. We'll see if Detroit can muster that kind of. He's looking for a 10-year deal as well, by the way.
I don't think he'll get 10. I think he'll get 8.
I agree, but you know, the longer the better.
Yeah.
So
I think honestly, Bregman is going to be more like 8 years, 200, like a solid 25 a year.
Yeah.
Or 175.
Yeah, I'm with you with that one.
Dad, Blake Snell went to the Dodgers.
Yep.
So Willie Adames becomes our number 4 name on this list.
Yeah.
I will take the lead. I go Braves.
Interesting.
I think Willie Adames stays as a shortstop, and becomes again that missing piece, maybe a missing healthy piece for the Braves lineup. I think they are chomping at the bit of losing the first series of the year of the playoffs, being without Acuna, without Strider. I think they blame the offense more than the pitching. And I think they go get Adames, and they go Riley, Adames, Albies, Olsen, and Arcia is more like a utility infielder.
I have him going to a team that would start panicking as soon as Juan signs, and he ends up with the Yankees.
Playing
Third base.
Whoa, okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's interesting. So he goes back to the AL East. I don't have the Yankees as an option. You want to hear some of my craziness?
Yes.
I had Padres, because again, team of shortstops.
Okay.
Obviously, I talked about the Braves. I have the Dodgers. Mookie is second baseman. Adames is short. I legitimately wrote Pittsburgh, making O'Neal Cruz a center fielder, but that would be a shock of shocks, more like a dark horse. So yeah, the Yankees were not on my list. That's the first one that's a little bit more shocking.
Yeah.
I have a reactive signing as well, so I get that. I just don't have Adames.
Yeah, I think the Yankees have to shore up that infield. Outside the shortstop, they have a lot of holes.
Yeah.
3 out of 4. So he fills in at third base, gives them a little pop. They're looking for someone to fill in those home runs. He's good for probably to 20 to 25, and much better defensively than what they've had. So they interviewed him. He said he's willing to play third base.
Okay.
So that's why I
So
went
Jazz
that way.
second then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which makes some sense.
I do. I don't think it's a third baseman.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm very happy to. You're. Sorry, I got confused. Max Fried's technically an odd as number 5 on our list. Who do you have Max Fried going to?
Going to your friends, the Red Sox.
We have an agreement.
Yeah, baby. There's 2. There's 2.
I can go in if you don't want to, but go ahead. I will supplement.
No, I just think it's the ace. And he is a young left-hander, strong. I mean, his stats in the last few years have been outstanding, by the way.
Insane. Yeah.
And he's a big guy, and he throws hard. He's a left-hander. I just think, what a perfect match. And the Red Sox have the money to sign him. I think they give him 6 to 8 year deal for the money he's looking for, becomes their ace, and gets them in the conversation of getting in the playoffs next year. This is the key to the Red Sox offseason.
Again, they need a left-handed starter, a left-handed ace. So, again, for me, I ranked it as Fried, Snell, Montgomery, Crochet. Just because I think the Red Sox don't need to necessarily trade when they have some money to spend. So I think Fried is the clear choice here. Montgomery and Crochet are backups. Fried's the most established starter. Crochet doesn't have that many innings as a starter, and Montgomery had a very shaky year last year. If they add Fried and Montgomery, Fried and Crochet,
yeah,
awesome. But no, I have Fried as priority one. Dad, I get to talk about the polar bear, don't I?
You get to talk about the polar bear, yes.
Okay. So Pete Alonso is leaving New York.
Yes, he is. At least that side of New York.
No, both sides of New York. He is leaving the Mets. He's leaving the Yankees, but he's not leaving the NL East. He is becoming a Washington National.
You know what? I had that on my list.
Apparently switched.
I did. I did. Because I looked at, again, they got to fill some holes on the other side of town, and they would love to have a power hitting first baseman. I think he loves New York. New York has the money now. I think he fits with the Yankees really well, but I love the Nationals, and I can see why that becomes their monument in Washington now, and build a team around that. I mean, it's a real good choice.
I think it's almost like a trade. Like, it feels very delayed trade, but like hey, the Phillies have Harper and Turner, former Nat. The Mets will have Soto, former Nat. Nats are saying, screw you, we're getting a former Met. We have to face Soto in New York. You have to face Alonso in D.C. So I think Pete gives some surprisingly veteran status to a very young team, and becomes a cornerstone of that team for years to come, that they can build around a Wood, Young, Cruz, Brady House, and now Pete in D.C. So you have him in the Yankees.
I do.
I don't think that... So I wrote him down as a financial possibility. The personalities, I don't think, mesh. Him and Aaron Boone. Pete Alonso is a nut job, Dad.
Yeah, I know.
They have coaching to say certain things, to say things a very boring way. Aaron Judge does it very well. Aaron Boone does it really well. But I think that personality, I mean, that's too much personalities on that team. Jazz Chisholm's already there. That means Jazz and Pete are on the same side of the infield. They do not. That's gonna be bad. I don't like that.
I can see the conversations now.
I don't like that at all. I think that's just bad. I just think it's bad blood.
I just think it's a qualifying offer for Alonso. The Yankees are gonna get some draft choices. They can give up some draft choices. They have the money. They need to replace 30 to 35 home runs a year. And don't forget, the Yankees really need a first baseman in the worst way. So that's kind of my reasoning. Is you look at
don't get a first baseman, it just won't be him.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But does he love New York so much that he wants to stay in New York? Okay. Okay.
Dad, you seem to. I'm looking at your picks. You really hate the middle of the country so far. It's just been this was in the coast, mostly East Coast. I got a nice spread going on.
I'm getting back to Central.
I think I have like everyone covered outside the West Coast, which I'm getting to soon. But Jack Flaherty, Dad, is yours, I believe.
He is going to Detroit Tigers. He's going back where he had the success. They will welcome him with open arms. They'll say, hey, we need an ace. You're the guy. He would cement...
They have an ace.
I know that, but I'm just saying, can you imagine him being number 2?
He was a number 2 all year, so of course I can imagine it.
Yes, but I just think that in the bidding and everything else, he's going to go to somewhere he's familiar with, and I think the Tigers will give him the best offer.
I think that's a high likelihood. It was something that I wrote down and went against, and wrote down, went against. I have the Mets.
Whoa!
I have, I think the Mets get one of the now 3 big pitchers left in the market. So it was Snell, Bregman, 5. Snell, Bregman, Fried, Flaherty, or Manaea, and I can't see a world where the Mets don't get one of those guys. And I think Flaherty makes the most sense to go to New York. So I like your pick, Dad. I think that, again, if I was betting, which I guess I am with you, but individually I think the Tigers pick is probably a lower odds than my riskier pick with the Mets. But to not pick a top-end Met pitcher seemed foolish for me. I think Corbin Burns could be a Met if he's not a Cub or a Giant.
Wow. So the Mets are spending some money so far.
I have the Mets spending over $200 million this offseason.
Okay.
I have the Mets getting the most additions. I wrote it down. I have them getting untied for number one in most top 50 free agent additions.
Wow.
Dad, I know I just gave you some shit about staying, out all over the country. You obviously moved to Detroit. That was nice. But I have Santander becoming a Yankee. There's my reactive signing. He's a switch hitter, so again, Soto, there's lefty implications there, but a Santander has similar numbers as Soto, not in age, but in terms of output. I know the average isn't there. I know the eye contact, but there's a lot of similar home run and RBI numbers to Soto. I think the defense is similar. I think the arm is similar. If not, Santander might be a little better with an arm. And I think it's very reactive. It's like, all right, so Soto's gone. I think at this point Teoscar's gone too. I think Teoscar will sign soon. And I think the star outfielder Santander's left, and the Yankees react and get him.
Very interesting. I mean, the short porch would be perfect for him.
Mm-hmm.
The way he pulls the ball and everything. I'm going back to the Midwest, and I have him being the centerpiece of a new structured, strong offense in Cleveland, Ohio.
Whoa! I had KC as an option, so I started even writing KC. Dad, I really thought you would have chose that.
Nope, Cleveland.
They don't have the money for Santander, Dad.
They can find the money.
Okay.
Don't forget, he's gonna be a late signee.
But that's probably 5 to 7 years. Cleveland does not give out those contracts.
I know that. But if they want to stay in the hunt of getting to, further in the playoffs and all that stuff, they need a high offensive player. They hit home runs.
This is even worse of a odd differential than Jack Flaherty was. Comment if you think the chance of the Cleveland Guardian organization getting Anthony Santander for probably 150 to 200 million over 6 years. 5 to 6 years.
They're looking for a little bit of pop, and he can be the answer.
They'll sign somebody to a 1-year contract, and I'll get to that person.
Okay.
Wow. Dad, you're up next for Sean Manaea.
He is going to go to the middle part of the United States and be a Texas Ranger.
That's not the middle part. That's southern.
Whatever.
They do need pitching. Keep it going.
And, he's getting a little bit of age on him. He can go for probably a 2-year deal, and the Rangers really need to shore up that starting pitching. He's the kind of guy that would fit that bill, and I think be a perfect fit for Rangers to climb up the standings. He could get them 15 wins.
I see that. If the Rangers had the money, I think their focus is Eovaldi or Andrew Heaney, and then plug and chug. I don't think they'll be at the top market for pitching. I'm not confident in what I'm about to say, but it is my pick. It is the Baltimore Orioles.
Interesting.
Finally making a multi-year free agent signing as a starter. I think the hair is probably what sold me. Because everyone in the Orioles has this long flowy hair, and so does Sean Manaea. I think he fits in.
Oh my!
He's a lefty. Again, there's
deceptive lefty.
Yeah. He's not my only Orioles rotation addition. We'll get to that, and I'll give a hint. The second part of this program. I think it's low odds. I don't think it's any higher odds in Texas. I had again the same names we've been talking about: Boston Mets, Giants. But he has been a Giant, I believe. Being that lefty, he's just like the fifth option behind Crochet for me as a Red Sox. So, yeah. Dad, I think you said you went first there, or did I go first?
I went first.
Okay, so Teoscar Hernandez is mine. I have him returning to the Dodgers.
Me too.
Okay. It just makes sense. He seemed to really have a good time there. He won the home run derby there. They need an outfielder. I think as a World Series winner, I mean, that's fresh in his mind.
Yeah.
They have some like a hometown discount almost going on. They got Chris Taylor back easily. In my opinion, they'll get Kike Hernandez and Joe Kelly back easily. They get Clayton Kershaw back easier. Clayton Kershaw declined his option of $10 million and intends to re-sign with the Dodgers for less money.
Yeah.
Who does that?
He wants to go out a Dodger.
But he's willing to take less money.
He might have enough in the bank.
He does, but that's just rare, and it's just appreciated that he's not being greedy.
Yeah.
Because think about it. He turned down 10. He's like, nah, I'm only worth 6.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's rare.
I think Teoscar's going to get like a 4-year, $100 million, get 25. And honestly, he might start doing more of the same. He might start doing, deferrals. That whole team is doing nothing but deferrals, it seems like. So they can afford them, and they're the Dodgers.
They can smell. They could be on a run between 3 and 5 years right now. And I think they're really players that really want the championships and all that see, hey, I have an opportunity to be in the playoffs for 5 consecutive years. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
So I think he's part of that, and I think you're right. He had a great time out there, fit in. He had a good year, and being in Southern California, it's not a bad place to play baseball. So, yeah.
Dad, Kikuchi's been signed. So tell me where Christian Walker's going.
He is going to go up the West Coast to the Seattle Mariners.
They do need, by your measure, a first baseman. I don't think they'll be able to afford him, but go ahead. Tell me why.
I just think you had half of it right there. I think the Mariners really are kind of desperate to climb the standings. They need a big piece. Christian Walker, I think, is probably the most unsung people in the players in the first 13, 14 players we mentioned. He's going to be a very steady player. He's probably in his 30s by now, but he probably could sign like a 3 to 4 year deal and bring some stability to the Mariners and some power, which I think they need to get their offense cranking.
I have the Mets to replace Pete Alonso. Wow. Again,
Mets are active.
Yeah, I told you 5. So it's Soto, Flaherty, Walker for me, and then I'm going to have another one real shortly too. Dad, there's 5 teams that I think are going to be in for the 5 first basemen. 2 are not on this list. So the 2 that are not on this list is Carlos Santana and Anthony Rizzo. They're probably 1-year contracts. But the multi-year contracts are Paul Goldschmidt, Christian Walker, and Pete Alonso. Mets and Yankees need a first baseman. We can agree on that. The Nationals need a first baseman. I think they'll sign one of those 5. The other 2 are Arizona and Houston. And I'm just kind of curious how the Goldschmidt, Rizzo, Santana land out. But I think, again, the Mets get one of those top 3 names, whether that's Goldschmidt, Walker, or they bring back Pete. I didn't think they would bring back Pete, so I went with the highest name first base-wise, which was Christian Walker. So that's how I kind of arrived there, which, again, I'm giving out a pick, but that means Goldschmidt goes to New York. But that'll come in the second half of this program. So Seattle, I don't look at Seattle as a need for a free agent first baseman, just how they do business. I think they'll trade for one. We'll find out who that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or they'll let it ride with Rayleigh.
I'm thinking he'll be active. The GM will be extremely active in the next 30 days. So, yeah, he might pull off a stunner and, get Bellinger or something like that. So, yeah. So it could go to a couple different ways. But the money this year that's going to be spent on free agents is going to be astronomical.
Probably.
Probably. Yeah. So a lot of the contracts you mentioned just in the first 12, 13 guys, a lot of money.
Tanner Scott, Dad?
Blue Jays.
I do have that as an option. Why Blue Jays, besides needing a closer?
I think, again, they were really upset with how they played this year. They're going to clear some payroll. They need a closer, somebody to really get the saves. He's by far the best right now. Had an unbelievable ERA last year. I just think it's a great fit. So that's why I went with it.
Again, you just have a very interesting direction. It's just like a full shakeup. You're doing full shakeups of the Blue Jays and the Cubs, and it's very interesting. Dad, what was Tanner Scott's selling point at the trade deadline?
Power arm left-hander.
Specifically, why did the Padres get him?
Tell me.
To pitch to Ohtani.
Okay.
Tanner Scott has great numbers against Shohei Ohtani. When the Orioles would play the Angels and when the Marlins would play the Angels, Shohei Ohtani couldn't really hit Tanner Scott. So if the Padres got him to beat him in the playoffs, so when the 8th or ninth inning came up and they had to face Shohei, Tanner Scott was that hitman almost. They could get Shohei to strike out, to ground out, to take him out of the game.
Yeah, because his fastball moves.
He just has great numbers against him. Shohei couldn't figure him out. So what is the most logical thing to do?
Get in a team in the West to get him.
Correct. The Los Angeles Dodgers. They say, screw your thing. You're going to try to pitch against my Shohei. We'll take you completely off the board.
Checkmate.
You are not competition. You're going to play for us, and there won't be anyone that pitches against Shohei.
You genius.
That's exactly what I would do.
That's pretty good
enemy
thinking.
of my enemy. Yep.
You're just pretty good thinking. You know that?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good.
So, and plus I don't think plus they need either a closer or an eighth.
They do.
Guy.
They lost some guys out of the bullpen. Wow, and they have the money. They'll back end it.
Sure. Oh, they fronted it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Dad, I know that I'm just a broken record at this point, so I'll just say it. Luis Severino stays in New York as a Met.
Interesting.
More Mets. Again, he's really only known New York, Yankees, and Mets. He had a good bounce-back year with the Mets this year. I think there is some desire for a mutual return, plus they need starters.
I am going to the Orioles for the same reason you had.
Sean and I.
Yeah.
Funny, I said the Severino is only between the Mets and the Orioles.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that even though he's got a qualifying offer, the Orioles, I know that. But some teams do. They're very scared of the QOs. But he would get like a 2-year contract, which is more in line with what the Orioles do, and he had a nice bounce-back year. That's a pretty safe signing for the Orioles to slot him into the 1 or 2 and then go from there. But I like him. The Orioles, they're in the price range of the Orioles.
It's so interesting to sell to your fans if you're an Orioles fan. Hey, we just got a mid-tier pitcher for 2 years. That's because what it tells you is that's what we know is our window. We're not willing to commit 6 years because we don't know if we'll be good in 6 years. If you commit 4 years to Sean Manaea, it gives you're telling me we'll be competitive for 4 years. However the longest contract you give, I don't care if it's to a player or to a position player, a pitcher or a position player. That signals to your fans, we think we'll be good for this amount of time.
Right. We're making a commitment.
Or we'll try, if your team's kind of in a negative spin, they're going to be our future. We're going to build a team around them. If you signed just everyone to a 1-year contract, you don't believe in anything you're doing. You don't believe in your franchise at all. So a 2-year contract, if that's the longest the Orioles give out this season, boy, oh boy, did we not get better. Do we just have Angelos Jr.?
Yeah. I think the injuries could affect that contract. Because before he came back hurt.
Yeah, I'm just saying in general. I'm not saying Sevy.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Okay. Gotcha.
Dad, you got Profar.
I have him go to Atlanta.
As a left fielder?
Yes.
Okay.
And gives him a little pop. And I think he's an underrated guy. He had a really good year, and he got a Gold Glove. So I think he helps the Braves defensively and offensively, helps that lineup tremendously.
I didn't have any competition in this. I only wrote the Padres.
Interesting.
So I have a re-signing. Yep. I thought his best years ever were in San Diego. When he leaves that team, he's not good. I think he's kind of fun messing with Dodger fans. I think he kind of belongs in San Diego's left field for right now.
He can steal home runs.
And I think he'll get a couple. He'll get a couple years. If it's going to be more than a 1-year contract like he got this year. What a steal. Best contract in baseball this year. Yeah. I think he'll get like a 2 or 3 year deal.
Yeah, no one wanted him last year, remember?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He got signed for a 1-year, $1 million contract.
Yeah.
And became an all-star outfielder. Yeah, probably worth $20 million.
And I think that was another late signing.
Yes. Just to take a little note on the Dodgers, this is just live at November 29th, 5:18 p.m. Look at that. Dodgers just extended Tommy Edman for 5 more years.
That's great.
After 2-3 months of play and an NLCS MVP, they gave him 5 years, $74 million. So, and he's got a $17 million signing bonus. So the Dodgers take care of their players. Tommy Edman probably will be an outfielder.
That was a great pickup, by the way. You called it when we were sitting at the the trade deadline and everything else, when that happened, you said, what a great pickup, and you were ecstatic that that happened because you're a big Edmund fan.
I always have been. Certain players on other teams just do better, and that's tough for your organization. If you're when Tommy Edman won a Gold Glove, I was like, all right, he's not even playing 162 games because he's on a team field of infielders with the Cardinals. Get him out of there. Yeah. It's tough to see him go,
and he's a good hustling ball player.
Yeah.
I mean, he does the little things that you don't notice because Dodgers have a lot of superstars, but he was a guy who ran hard, stole a base, played great defense, a true baseball player, and now he's a Dodger for a long time.
If your team isn't like that, trying to extend the talent, that's an issue. If you're a Baltimore fan, and why you have to ask yourself, why isn't Gunnar extended? Why isn't Adley extended? Well, why
Westberg?
These are important questions.
Yeah.
Dad, you had Atlanta for Profar. I have Atlanta for Nate Dogg Eovaldi. I think it makes so much sense. He almost feels like a Charlie Morton, kind of like a let me be this older starter. I can be really good for you. He gets to reunite with Sale. I think that makes a lot of sense. I want to say he's from the South. I'll check on that. But
from Texas.
Okay, well, it would make more sense to go to Texas. I thought he was more of a Southern gentleman. But Nathan Eovaldi to the Braves is just kind of a fun pick for me.
Yeah. You know what? I haven't gone back to Beantown.
Really?
Yes. And I'm thinking he would welcome that. They may sign him for a 3-year deal. I think that what a great fit for him to go back to Beantown, become a leader, to help that young pitching staff come around with his wisdom and everything. He still throws hard, by the way.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be the cornerstone of the Red Sox.
Alvin, Texas.
Huh. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. I know high schools and birthplaces.
And I thought he was a little older. He'll be 35 by the start of the season, so yeah. I can't see more than a 3-year deal. Yeah. I think it'll be more like 2, maybe with an option.
But you know what? He had a good year.
Yeah.
And he's one of the few Rangers that didn't get hurt.
Yeah, just somehow, since he's pitched for 13 years, he does not have 100 wins, but he doesn't have 100 losses either.
Yeah.
So, Dad, you're talking to me about Jeff Hoffman.
Oh, you know what? Outstanding relief pitcher. I think they're going to miss him desperately in Philadelphia.
Oh, so he's not coming back.
He's not coming back. He's going to go right down 95, and he's going to end up in Washington, D.C., pitching for the Nationals.
We are pretty close in lockstep. I had him only as 2 options here because Nats desperately need a reliever, but I have him taking 95 north and taking it all the way to Beantown, as you just said. I have him being the setup guy for Hendricks.
Okay.
I have him going to Boston.
You know what?
But the Nats make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I just think that the Nationals are going to spend some money in key positions where they're really weak. They're going to make a run for the crown and at least make playoff baseball. I really think that the Nationals and Pittsburgh are 2 teams in the National League that I think have exciting futures. So, yeah.
Dad, we're about 15 in. We have 3 similarities.
Which is really good, by the way.
Yes. Ones I all believe in, too, which is great. They're not like crazy risky picks. Dad, am I up for Tyler O'Neill or are you up?
I can go.
And well, am I up? I think I'm up.
Okay, go for it.
First. I think
I'm excited.
Well, Dad, earlier when you were talking about I have Anthony Santerre going to the Midwest to be the new blank hitter in this lineup, I thought you were going to say Kansas City because that's who I have for Tyler O'Neill. I have him being a left fielder, get MJ Melendez the hell out of Kansas City, and give me a 30 home run, 75 RBI, Tyler O'Neill in Kansas City.
Great fit. But Tyler was born in what country?
God, if I know.
Canada.
Okay, yeah, I was in America. That O'Neill threw me off, yeah.
Yeah. Born in Canada, and I talked to him the other day on the phone.
No, you didn't. Stop lying to people.
And I have him going to the Blue Jays.
I don't understand. They're kind of good in the outfield.
Well,
who's coming into DH? Him?
Yes.
Him? Okay.
Yes. So you have Tyler O'Neill going to Kansas City.
I don't understand. You have Bregman going to third. You have Tanner Scott being their closer. Tyler O'Neill being their DH.
Yeah.
I don't think they have that much money, Dad.
They're going to get rid of some.
But all right. So trading your franchise Guerrero.
But Toronto does have some money. They got rid of some money at the trading deadline.
All right. Well, he's out of Boston, it looks like.
Yes.
Dad, you're up for Glaber. Where's the former Cub Yankee?
He's flipping coast. He's going to Seattle.
Oh, we're so close. When you said flipping coast, I was with you. Tell me why Seattle.
Second base, perfect fit if they don't make the trade with Horner and everything else. He's a perfect fit for Seattle. At top of the lineup, gets on base, plays a okay second base. He's not great by any stretch of imagination. He even could play third base. So again, multiple positions. He's not a shortstop, but I think he helps the Mariners' offense just like he helped the Yankees' offense. Gets on base.
We have the same coast, but we don't even have the same league. I have him in San Francisco.
I can see that.
Being the second baseman, being a little bit of a power hitter, being a little pop in that lineup. Again, it's not the splashy sign, but again, I'm going with odds that the Giants continue to not get their man year after year.
You got a lot of people going to Giants, by the way.
No, I don't. That was my first person.
No, you've had others.
No, I haven't. I've been tracking every pick as my first Giant.
Okay. All right. Maybe I was thinking it's in the
I have more coming, but not in the big picture. That was my first Giant.
Okay, you're correct.
Yep, I know I am. I've tracked it all out.
Maybe it was the Posey jersey that got me all out of whack.
Sure it was the Posey jersey. Okay, Glaber's going west.
Yes, he is.
Dad, I have Clay Holmes.
Yes.
Going south.
How far south?
To apparently Irving, Texas, where Nate Doggy Evaldi's from. I have him becoming a Ranger.
Interesting.
I just don't know if it'll be bullpen or closer.
Well, he doesn't have to go far where he's going for, in my opinion. He just gets, overnight suitcase and he goes down 95 to Philadelphia.
Interesting. I see that. They were on my list.
Good. I like how we're doing a little travel log as well.
I've been everywhere, man. Yes. No, I think him being in Philadelphia makes some sense. I don't think Clay Holmes is that good.
Faltered at the end of the season.
Yeah. There's a lot of thoughts that he becomes an Oriole. Boy, oh boy, would that be a... Hey, remember this former Yankee that blew it in the postseason? Yeah. We'll take him in Baltimore. They're really trying to sell season tickets, aren't they?
Moving the wall in.
Let's move the wall in. Clay Holmes, everybody.
Yeah. Baltimore was no more.
We are, though, Dad, in lockstep with that the Phillies need a closer.
Yes.
I'm just keeping Carlos Estevez from the trade and re-signing him and giving him a couple years. Okay. Carlos Estevez to the Phillies.
Well, I can tell you at the trade deadline, he almost ended up going to a team in the Midwest.
Oh, my God. If it's going to be a Cub bullshit, it's going to be a Cub bullshit. I'm just writing CHC on my list. Oh, my God. He puts the Carlos in the Cubby Bear, right? That was my joke for Corbin Burns, and you're thinking about how you can use it. What's C&E? What's C&E? Oh, my God. All right, you need a closer. Tell the people at home. Morgan and Hodge set up for him. Carlos Estevez closes.
Why do I need
He's got the Hispanic connection in Chicago, blah, 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 blah. He's going to get people from the South Side to come watch him. He'll have a cool walkout song that's some Spanish song.
Cucaracha.
I doubt that.
I don't have to say anything. You said it all. It's a good fit. And they almost got him at the trade deadline.
Matthew Boyd, Dad?
He's going to Cardinals.
I have Cardinals! No way!
Yeah.
I thought that was an out there pick.
Yeah.
Well, tell me why you think Cardinals, and I'll tell you why I think
Well,
Cardinals.
you were so eloquently... You mentioned the Cardinals are going to get guys in the 3, 4, 5 range and get a bunch of them. They can patch up their pitching staff. He fits that bill to a T.
Trade him mid-year. I have him a 1-year contract.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%.
I have like 1 year, $15 million, something like that.
I think that's 3 we have together.
No, that's 4.
4. Unbelievable.
I was really out there with the Cardinals pick.
Yeah.
Okay. Jock Peterson, Dad? I don't know who's up anymore.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Jock is, Mr. October, Jocktober. And so when the Blue Jays make the playoffs next year...
Oh, my God.
He might end up being the first baseman when they trade Vlad.
Okay, he was a full DH this year and has no experience that I'm aware of at first base. If it's experience, it was not for more than 10 games. Okay. For all the Canadian listeners we have, he loves your whole country, apparently.
Yeah.
I I like the hired gun aspect. Is it a 1-year contract?
Yes.
I have 1 year of Jock going to Cleveland as their DH.
That's a really good pick.
I think it's tough. I think JD Martinez
And
could be in
left-handed.
there. Yeah. JD Martinez could have been an option there too. But like a 1 year, 20 million, 1 year 18, 1 year 22, something like that. Jock Peterson's just a 1 year contract guy. He'll get to see Cleveland. I think him, Ramirez, I want to keep Naylor, Lane Thomas, Stephen Kwan. I think that's a good lineup. I think they'll be good. Do you want to do the bet now, or do you want to do the bet like once the Jays do none of these signings? Because I will bet that the Jays do not make the playoffs next year.
I'll make that bet.
How much you want to bet right now on November 29th?
$10.
Oh, do you want to do 20?
20.
20 it is. Jays don't make the playoffs next year.
Okay.
No, I think they're a 4th place team, if not 5th.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, free money, people. Dad, we're almost done our episode here. Andrew Heaney, I'll go. They didn't get Nate Eovaldi, so the Texas Rangers re-sign Heaney.
Interesting.
Not an exciting, sign, 2-3 years type of thing.
I am going to the Giants.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Blue Jays.
No, I'm done with the Blue Jays.
Oh my good, thank God. So am I. Yeah, I can see the Giants.
Yes.
That adds up a little bit, just like an innings eater.
Yep.
But
left-handed.
So Burns and Heaney to the Giants. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good pitching staff all of a sudden.
I just think they're going to be very aggressive.
Okay. Dad, like I said, we're going to do 2 more. We're going to do Kim and Montas because of Kikuchi and Snell, and that will be a true 25. Ha-Sung Kim, Dad, is not related to Ha-Sung Kim, but he is also an infielder. Seems like he can play a little bit of second, short, and third, just like the other Kim. So where does new Kim go?
He's going to be the second baseman of the Kansas City Royals.
They just got India.
But isn't India third base? Mm-hmm. No, second? Mm-hmm. Then I'm wrong.
So India will either be second baseman or DH. Michael Massey will be second baseman or DH. And Garcia is their third baseman.
But Massey didn't have any offense. So
he had some.
Okay.
He had some.
Because I think watching the playoffs, he was not a great hitter, and he used small
ball. Are you locking in the Royals?
No, we're changing that, and right now we're going to have him go to the Red Sox.
Okay. Him with Yoshida?
Sure.
You just went frantic. You and anyone but the Kansas City
I
Royals.
have a list.
The Mariners is who you should have gone with. So the Seattle Mariners is my pick. They currently, surprisingly, don't have a single Asian player. And with the Ichiro connection, I think that's kind of strange that they don't have any Asian players. So you were saying earlier you're trying to get Gleyber Torres out there. I think Kim makes a better second or third baseman, whatever hole that they need.
And
I think it's affordable.
And I like the Asian connection.
Yeah,
that's paramount in Seattle.
Yeah, I think he's a good player though.
Yeah,
I mean he hits over 300 in Japan, so if he's able to bring that to America, good for him. That last player is Frankie Montas.
I have him beefing up a pitching staff that I've been trying to get together.
Toronto Blue Jays.
Nope, Giants.
I have Giants too.
All right.
I think Back to the Bay makes some sense.
Man, that's 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5.
5. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. We'll go back and double check this. Obviously, things are happening in live time. Dad, so you want to beef it up a little bit. Montas. So you have Heaney, Montas, and Burns.
Correct.
So what's happening to some of those players in the Giants? So you're keeping Webb, right?
Yes.
So let's just say
that's a good foursome.
But then you have Robbie Ray, former Cy Young winner.
Little lefty. He's still, I think, questionable. He could be traded.
Jordan Hicks.
He could be back to the bullpen. You know what?
Okay. Harrison and Birdsong. They're Harrison's got more experience in Hayden Birdsong, but
I just think Hicks came. He's such dominant, in a closer role.
Good. Yeah.
So
right. Interesting. That means they paid a lot of money for that reliever before Hicks becomes a reliever. Yeah. Okay. Well, Dad, after 25, having 5 in common feels pretty high. That's 1 out of every 5.
Yeah.
Good picks. I think besides the frantic Ha-Sung Kim pick, I think you had some pretty decent picks. Santander being a Cleveland Guardian, there's just no way. And I think you have too many Blue Jays in the oven. But too many Blue Jays in the nest.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
But what's my wildest pick? What's mine not happening?
You know what? Let me take a quick peek here.
You can also.
I think Corbin Burns to the Cubs is your wildest pick.
I let off with the wild pick.
That's not going to happen.
Okay.
And I'll bet you a lot of money it doesn't happen.
No, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I'm wrong on most of these, Dad. I bet I get 2 out of 25. And there's probably Soto and Teoscar.
Yeah.
But, yes.
And you know what? Santander to the Yankees makes a lot of sense. I do like that pick for you.
Thank you, Dan.
I do. But I think for the most part, most of the picks have some pretty good logic to it.
Well, I appreciate your candor.
Well, I appreciate you being here.
Dad, we lead off with Nick Pivetta for our next back end of this top 50 free agent prediction. This is always a lot of fun. We do this divide really well. I'm glad it's going to be 2 basically hour-long episodes. So if you've watched it this far, whether it's in your car or wherever you're listening to us, please, at the next stoplight, stop sign, whatever, follow us here on YouTube or the @Pastime Podcast _ on Twitter and Instagram, and we're the Father and Son Pastime Podcast. Here are the shirts on Facebook. Please like and comment. We love hearing your thoughts. Again, I just asked my dad what was my wildest pick. Feel free to go, no freaking way, dude. That's not happening. So we love interacting. If it's logical, we'll interact back with you. If it's like, I don't know, Juan Soto to the Athletics, we're not going to respond to your comment.
Or the White Sox.
We're not going to respond to that comment. But enjoy and hope this is obviously entertaining or educational or maybe even both. Here comes part 2.